In this day and age, with the ever-increasing and oft-times hypercritical scrutiny of the media, it's especially important that Congress as an institution has the opportunity to present issues directly to the public. As Congress successfully provides such a vehicle, it provides a nonpartisan opportunity for members of both political parties to informally express their views and their concerns directly to the public. Unlike C-SPAN, which is a lengthy exposition, Ask Congress gets to the heart of the issues and is highly proactive. This has been a successful formula for more than 35 years, the 35 years of Ask Congress' existence. Ask Congress is a non-commercial, public service health half-hour program begun in 1970 at the request of the then Speaker, Carl Albert. The program is videotaped every week in the House and Senate studios and is transmitted to more than 300 PBS TV stations each week by satellite. Today I'd like to introduce you to a man who has been very close to me over his 40 years in Congress and 40 years of public service. He's Chairman John Conyers, John Conyers Jr. from the great state of Michigan. As Chairman of the Judiciary, he's at the forefront of many important responsibilities that are encompassed by this prestigious committee, such as judicial proceedings, both civil and criminal, civil liberties, and investigating subversive activities affecting the internal security of the United States. As a congressman, he's been present through 2 impeachments. The first was with President Nixon in the early 1970s, and the second was with Bill Clinton in the late 1990s. Is it possible that he may be looking at a third impeachment proceeding? Is it, John?
Well, it's possible. How probable it is, with time running out, with a long list of things on our to-do list in the 109th Congress, and with the imminence of the elections next year, which somehow have been jump-started like they've never had been in our experience in earlier years, we don't know how we're going to get all of this in. You know, the American people are in an unusual position that they've never been in before. And that is that they have almost a half a dozen people at high levels of government who might be subject to removal actions under the Constitution. And that gives everybody a real desire to see some action.
Do you have any priorities?
Well, there'd have to be. For example, this is an unusual point in time where you have a vice president who would likely be the first person on a list such as the one we're discussing, and then the president, because otherwise you might end up taking out the president and the vice president.
Well, then you'd have the speaker.
Right. So we have so many interesting conundrums.
John, one thing I think is important. People have been critical of the administration naturally. I shouldn't say that, but they've been critical of the administration. And they are critical of the Congress, too. Congress took over, was taken over by the Democrats with the objective of moving things and getting some things done. Now, here we talk about a very important topic, like impeachment, and you say that, there are other priorities. What are those priorities and what's being done by the Democratic Congress?
Well, first of all, we're trying to take care of health care issues. We've got education.
I'm sure the public knows the issues, but the question is, why hasn't the Democrat done something about these things?
Well, the reason we haven't done more than what we've done, I was telling you what we were going to do.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But what we have done, of course, is that we've dealt with the minimum wage for the first time. We passed a bill that created more health care for young children, 6 million more by all accounts.
But the president vetoed that.
And he vetoed that. We think that an override will probably come, since it was quite a bipartisan bill. I think some 45 Republicans in the House supported us on that. We've investigated the politicalization of the Department of Justice, and we have subpoenas and contempt citations for ignoring the subpoenas that are out right this moment. We've tried unsuccessfully in at least 2 different occasions to bring the war in Iraq to a close.
What is really impeding that? What is the obstacle, the main obstacle to that now, of bringing the war to a close?
2 things. The first is the fact that you need 60 votes to cut off debate in the United States Senate. On a good day, when everybody's healthy in the Senate, we have a majority of 1. So anybody absent or that defects at all, we're out of there. But to even stop the debate to get to the vote, you have to produce 60 votes. And frequently, that's the stumbling block over there. Now, at the same time, in the House, we have a majority of 30 votes out of 435. So that means if 15 people defect or are not there or anything that happens, we have a razor-thin majority in both houses. And so, after, for example, 12 years of the liberals being out of control, guess what? People are saying, well, why don't you do more? They don't realize that you're up against the wall. Our majorities have to increase greatly. And many of the things that we're doing are catching up on oversight hearings and actions that should have been taken long ago, and we just couldn't do it. And so there are great expectations.
I'm sure you have been really one of the leaders, I wouldn't say of the liberal bloc, but of the Congress itself, because you have taken positions that are advanced positions over a period of years, I know. What is the single most important issue to you today?
Well, stopping the war is the most important thing. And
if you stop the war, you'll have money to do a lot of other things, won't you?
Yes. We're talking about, the University of Michigan economists, whose judgment I use, is that we've spent somewhere between, in direct and indirect costs, between $1 trillion and $1.5 trillion on the war. Other accounts are more modest. But we're now not only stretched out militarily, and that's why you have so many private contractors actually doing military duties in Iraq. As a matter of fact, there are more private contractors over there than there are U.S. military.